Hello and welcome to Bike Sport News' coverage of the Macau Grand Prix for 2011. A bumper field in 2011, but the weather has already played a huge factor in the preparation for this year's Grand Prix. It rained on Friday and Saturday, washing out the sessions. They did get a practice on Thursday, but it's been a tough preparation for this year's Macau Grand Prix. I'm glad to say the sun is shining for what is the qualifying session for the motorcycles, and they will now race on the Sunday, but it's not been an easy preparation. Like I said, a massive field this year, and all eyes, of course, on Michael Rutter. This is his 17th return to Macau, and he's won it 6 times, and he's chasing the record because it equals Ron Haslam. He too has won 6 times here, but the Blade is going for 7. Last year he was beaten by Stewart. Of course, Easton out with injury and not here this year, but the Blade will be going for it to make it a 7th win. But with the likes of Ian Hutchinson back in action, and also, of course, John McGuinness, who won here once already and is always good around the streets, it's going to be a tough task for Michael Rutter. Can he do it? We're about to find out.
Hello and welcome to the City of Dreams 45th Motorcycle Grand Prix here in Macau. Machines are now starting to form up on the grid, and quite a colourful sight, I think you'll agree it is as well. Marty Jessup, number 40, the second of the RidersMotorcycles.com Ducati. He was the first man back to the grid, and of course Marty qualifying in 4th position yesterday. And well, he's normally a circuit racer, doesn't really do much of the roads, but earlier on this year at the Northwest 200, he did put that machine on the pole position at the Northwest 200, so he had a pretty good event there. I'm just having a look at him now. He's just having a quick chat with Michael Rutter there. The Blade, as he's known, due to his days when he used to ride the Honda Fireblade. Michael Rutter, well, scorched round here, 2 minutes 23.794. That was his pole position time. It's been a pretty difficult qualifying week for the motorcyclists, because they went out first of all on Thursday morning. Everything was fine, conditions were pretty perfect, and then unfortunately the forecasted rain did come in on Thursday and again on Friday, and they only managed to get out yesterday, and it was pretty hot when they went out, pretty warm and humid conditions. A lot of the riders complaining about the heat that was here at the 3.8 mile Gaia circuit here in Macau. So we'll have a little look at the history of some of the races that we've had here. The first race held in 1967, and Hiroshi Hasegawa, the first winner. He won it twice in 67 and 68. The first British winner was, of course, Chas Mortimer in 1976. Mick Grant, one of his machines is in the museum here. He was here quite a few times, was Mick, but he managed to win it in 1977. Ron Haslam, 6 wins for Ron Haslam. So we know Ron has got the bit between his teeth when he was here for the Macau Grand Prix. But the man everybody has their eyes on today is Michael Rutter. First came here in 1996, I think it was. Michael was here first of all. 1998 took his first win, again in 2000, and in 2002, 3, 4 and 5 he took the win. So he's now got 6 wins under his belt, and that equals, of course, Ron Haslam's 6. Can he get that 7th win today? And with what he did in qualifying yesterday, and again in practice this morning when they went out for the warm-up, well, Michael Rutter was the man on a mission. Just had a quick picture there of Rico Penskofer. He's currently competing in the World Endurance Championship. I think his team is running about 7. And Mike Barnes as well, yeah, with a lot of the riders sporting those stickers there, the number 58 sticker in memory, of course, of Marco Simoncelli, the rider who was killed in MotoGP. And there's Steve Mercer on the Genton Racing Honda, qualifying time 2:29.952. The big man from Maidstone in Kent. He'll be looking to go quite well here, and of course in 11th position, 37, James Hillier. Riding the Mocha Club's Kawasaki, the Bournemouth Kawasaki, and see him sporting that moustache there. There's something back home called Movember, which helps to raise money for charity. And there's Bruce Anstey, the quiet Kiwi now. What side of bed did he get out of this morning? Well, you don't really know. Last time Bruce was here, he was knocked off on the first corner down there at Lisboa, and I think it was Dan Linfoot, he said, that knocked him off. And there's William Dunlop. Well, on the Wilson Craig Racing Honda, he did have a bit of a tumble, unfortunately, in the first practice on Thursday, but he was perfectly fine now. He said he got a bit of a wheelie, and as he came over one of the rises, he went to squeeze on the front brake, and unfortunately didn't have any brakes, unfortunately went down. Horst Sager, now that man, I've seen him all week, has never stopped smiling. He's on the second Pens13.com BMWs. And James McBride, good to see James back here again. James not done that much riding this year, actually. A couple of events of the Isle of Man TT, also Grand Prix, etc. It wasn't at the Isle of Man TT, should I say, and he's done some endurance racing again in Didier Graham's. I bet he's a right character in the Cadicas on the Heidegger RTD Suzuki Mullet machine. I can just see with the Dainese leathers. That, of course, is the Czechoslovakian rider Mikkel de Koppel. Now, we do have three riders who have not made the start of the race, unfortunately. That is number 32, Har Fernandez. Nuno Catano, who listeners back home in the Isle of Man will know, has done the Manx Grand Prix, finished 8th in the newcomers race. Unfortunately, did not get under the qualifying time. He's not been able to start. And also the local rider, Hong, on the Honda. So 3 riders have not qualified for the Grand Prix. So we will have 24 machines lining up for a 12-lap race. Was supposed to be 15 laps, and of course this race should have been all done and dusted yesterday, but due to the weather conditions, not so. Michael Rutter on the ridersmotorcycles.com Ducati on that pole position. Jimmy Storer, well, Jimmy the Scotsman, he's had a bit of an up and down season. He was supposed to come and do the Isle of Man TT this year, but unfortunately he got injured before the Isle of Man and could not make the trip. And of course Jimmy Storer, well, he could be a pretty good goer here, would have to say. Now, he was in the British Superstock Championship this year, finishing 8th overall. His best place was 3rd at Alton Park as well, and it's his 4th visit here with it. It didn't start in 2008. 2009 he was 18th, and last year he was in 7th position. We'll be getting the bikes on the grid for the warm-up lap very, very shortly, but just back to the qualifying then. Michael Rutter absolutely blitzed everybody, 2 minutes 23.794. Now that was on his ridersmotorcycles.com Ducati, but John McGuinness is on his heels, but 3.157 is the lot to get back. John McGuinness, Roadhouse SMT Honda, 2 minutes 26.951, 3.157 miles an hour, speed, should I say, seconds back on Michael Rutter. What sort of year has John had? Well, another couple of TT wins to his credit. 17 Isle of Man TT wins for him. Currently in the FIM Endurance World Championship, 5th at the weekend, and he flew straight from the last round to here. And currently the team, the TT Legends team, is in 9th position. Just quickly back to Michael Rutter, 8th in the British Superbike Championship this year at the TT. In the senior, he was 10th, and don't forget he won the Zero TT, which is for the electric bikes on them. The Moto Sis machine, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. Michael was on that and just shy of 100 mile an hour lap, which they are aiming to break next year, and 8th in the Superstock. And as I said, the British Superbike Championship, 8th place for Michael, and his best position, he got 2 second places this year. So Michael unfortunately did not add to his British Superbike win tally. Next on the grid will be Ian Hutchinson, the returning Ian Hutchinson, after such a fantastic year in 2010, where he won 5 Isle of Man TTs. He won basically everywhere where he went, to be truthful. And well, unfortunately, he was part of an accident that happened at Silverstone. And Ian, as we all know, had a massive injury to his leg, and they were even talking about amputating his leg at one point. Thankfully not the case, and he has changed the gear shift over to the other side. And I asked him about it after qualifying. He said he was quite happy with the shift the way it was. Well, it's obviously worked out well, because Ian in 3rd position on that Swan Yamaha. Just a reminder then, the race will be over 12 laps. The City of Dreams 45th Motorcycle Grand Prix. Now we'll be clearing the grid now, and we'll be getting the machines ready. Next on the grid will be number 40, Martin Jessup, the first man who got back here. He's on the second ridersmotorcycles.com Ducati. Let's have a little look, sort of year that that Martin Jessup has had. Well, competing in the British Superbike Championship, his best position was 6th at Snetterton in the Superbike Championship overall, finished in 11th position. His Macau form, 3rd visit, 2007 he was 19th. Unfortunately did not finish the race last year, as they start to clear the grid ahead of this 12-lap City of Dreams 45th Motorcycle Grand Prix here at Macau. Next on the grid, heading up the next row, will be Gary Johnson. Gary, of course, fulfilled a dream this year by winning his first Isle of Man TT in the Supersport race, and good on him as well. 13th overall in the British Supersport Championship, a 5th at Cadwell, and 2 6th places at Croft Park for him. So a pretty good year for Gary Johnson, and Gary riding here at Macau for the IGT Suzuki by TAS Racing. Of course, with their main rider, Guy Martin, this year on the roads, not here. Next to him, Jeremy Toy on the IGT Kawasaki Racing Team machine. Jeremy at number 57, and he's had a pretty good year. And the AMA Pro Road Racing, 4 top 10 finishes for Jeremy. Jeremy hopes to make a return to the Isle of Man, where he did go this year, but unfortunately had a few problems and not made it as the machines leave the line, and it's John McGuinness, the first man away. total of 24 machines have taken to the grid, and they're all pretty clear of the grid now. They're running down through the Mandarin Oriental Bend and down towards the very fast and then very heavy braking of Lisboa. Lots of incidents with the cars here on. A lot of the riders concerned about the amount of oil that could be down, and you can just see there at the top of your picture as they go into the entrance to San Francisco Hill. There's a big line across the road, and they've all negotiated that correct, and they've already had 2 laps around the circuit anyway. Up the Hospital Bridge and coming into the Maternity Bend, into the right and then into the left any second now. And we're not sure who we are on board with here actually. And we go to the Solitude S's, and well, you can see the oil flag out there displayed by the marshals, so they will be very wary of that now. Different line taken by the motorcycles compared to the cars, so we'll have to keep an eye on how the guys get out there, just feeling the way around there. And there's John McGuinness heading the way. You can just see Gary Johnson, 69, 9 James McBride, 11 Stephen Thompson, number 13 in there as well, Rico Penskofer on the BMW. And as they come into the Curva de Maria, as they start to get down to the heavy braking again, as it will be on the race pace, they'll be into the Melco hairpin, which is the second checkpoint on the circuit, so we'll be able to get split times off there. So come into the braking around Maria now, just as they get into there, into the left, into the right, and then running down to the Melco hairpin, and then a long blast, but there's a little kink just after the Melco hairpin that a lot of the riders seem to get. And if you watching the TV screens, if you just watch the rear ends of the machine, they just kind of bounce as they come into there. Just seen Bruce Anstey 2-shot. There's James Hillier, who we mentioned fashioning that very, very trendy looking moustache. Amazing amount of lead angle that these guys get on these machines, they really do. Into Melco hairpin we go, and it's not as hot as what it was yesterday afternoon. When we got up this morning we had warm up, and we can tell you that the quickest man there was of course Michael Rutter, but Marty Jessup was hot on his heels. Conditions just about perfect for warm up this morning, and they're all taking it nice and steady now. They're not sure how long they're going to be held on the grid for. It'll be interesting to see, and everybody's talking about Michael Rutter. Is he going to get that win? And Michael Rutter deep in conversation there with Ian Hutchinson. I think he's just saying, just enjoy it, Ian, and I'm sure it's good to have you back as well. And a big shake of the head from Ian Hutchinson. Whether it's a very poor joke that Michael's told them or not, I'm not honestly sure. I really don't know. I just see them weaving from side to side there, and I'm just looking to see if I can see Connor Cummins, because he wasn't very well this morning. And we'll just double check that and see if Connor has actually made the start. Now I can't see him there unless he's gone out late. We'll just double check that. Can't actually see him in shot. Okay, we will confirm that, but it doesn't look to me, unless Connor's right at the back, that he is going to be there. There doesn't seem to be any other machines, so unless Connor's not made the start, and believe you me, he wasn't very well this morning. You can just see the safety cars bringing up the rear, and it doesn't look to me like the man from Ramsey in the Isle of Man has actually made the start. So we will keep an eye on that and see, just confirm that he is there. We'll obviously get that from the timing screens. You just see them blasting out of the rear, the final corner there, and there's jamming on the brakes just to get a bit of heat into those brakes. But just don't forget, they're going to be going at upwards of nearly 200 miles per hour for braking for the very, very hard right-hander of Lisboa, and they want to have a lot of heat into those brakes there. So they're all lined up, and I don't see Connor. Let me see what row he was on. 1, 2, 3. Connor was on the third row, and I can't actually see him there unless he's changed leathers. It doesn't look to me like Connor Cummins has actually made the start of this 45th Motorcycle Macau Grand Prix. He was supposed to be just ahead of Horst Sagan. It doesn't look to me like he's got it. Who's going to get the whole shot? Michael Rutter is away. And no, it doesn't look to me like Connor Cummins has got at all, but Michael Rutter has got the whole shot. But as has Ian Hutchinson. Ian Hutchinson takes the lead of the 2011 Motorcycle Grand Prix here in Macau, sponsored by the City of Dreams, and Hutchie's away. And John McGuinness is up the inside of Michael Rutter there, but Michael on the brakes, John said, is so good as we go to the Mandarin Oriental Bend. Everybody safely through there, which is good news. And no Connor Cummins made it to the start. That is such unfortunate for the big man from Ramsey, but it's Ian Hutchinson dancing it in on the brakes into Lisboa. Looks to me like John McGuinness is up in the second place, and is that Paul Shoesmith, I think, or is it James McBride? I think it's James McBride who's just gone straight on there, but John McGuinness up in the second position, Michael Rutter third, Marty Jessup fourth, Michael Barnes fifth, Jeremy Toy in sixth, Gary Johnson seventh, and then we've got Bruce Anstey in eighth, Jimmy Starr in ninth, and we've got Chris Clark, the American, the newcomer here, in 10th position. William Dunlop right behind him, and Steve Mercer, Michael Dunlop, Stephen Thompson, Didier Grams, James McBride, Mark Miller, Sean Dwyer and Paul Shoesmith, but it is Ian Hutchinson, the returning Ian Hutchinson. This is his first race of 2011. Well, and they've talked to a lot of riders this week, and they've said they've got to get away, because if Michael Rutter goes away, they won't see him. Remember, now it does say there on the board that it's only 10 laps. Now that's news to me, so they've obviously changed that. So it is now 10-lap race. And it's Ian Hutchinson who's got the bull by the horns as they've been through sector 1. They'll be coming through to sector 2 in a second. And Ian Hutchinson still has the lead of this Motorcycle Grand Prix, which is now over 10 laps. Okay, 10 laps. Just keep that in your head. And just a reminder, no Connor Cummins at the start of this race. James Hillier getting the machine, or is that Mike Barr? No, it's, oh dear me, there's Jeremy Toy getting it very squirrely through the sector 2. Ian Hutchinson leads by about 0.8 of a second, so that's a pretty big lead after lap 1. So it's Hutchinson, McGuinness, Rutter, Jessup as they come into the Fisherman's Bend, and they'll be coming into the Curve R any second now. But Hutchie looks really on this, and Rutter's down to 4th position at the moment. So it's Hutchinson over the line from McGuinness, from Jessup, from Rutter. They are your top 4 at the moment. And then it is Mike Barnes, Jeremy Toy. Toy's gotten ahead of Barnes actually. Gary Johnson has moved up there. So Hutchinson from Jessup, from McGuinness, from Rutter, from Toy, from Johnson, Storer, Barnes, Anstey, Clark. And then we've got Hillier, William Dunlop, Steve Mercer, Michael Dunlop, Didier Grams, Stephen Thompson, Dwyer, Miller, Shoesmith and Koppel rounding out the top 20. But Hutchie still has the lead, but the man on the move into Lisboa looks to be Michael Rutter. He's just gone from 4th into 2nd position as he went into the brakes there on Lisboa. But Hutchie, I think he's going to try and make a break of this. Michael's first sector was 24.57. and Hutchinson 25.32, so he is catching him up, and he's going to be right on his tail any second now. Just watching a few people in the paddock there, but Hutchie looks pretty good through this sector, but Rutter is going to be right on his tail. But Marty Jessup has just got right ahead of Michael Rutter there now, so Michael's younger teammate is putting a bit of pressure on, but I don't think John McGuinness wants to let Michael Rutter or Marty Jessup or Ian Hutchinson get away. We just have a rider in, that's Jeremy Toy it is, who's trying to hold on to the back of these. So we've got a Yamaha from 2 Ducatis and a Honda and a Kawasaki. They are your top 5 here at the moment at Macau. 2 laps are on the second lap of 10, and Hutchie's first lap time was 2:33.117. 2:33.117, and when you look at the qualifying time of 2:23.794, obviously that was the start lap, so they will be obviously getting quicker as the race progresses. We'll be coming to sector 2 very shortly, be able to give you the official split on the time, but they're not catching him. Hutchie seems to be getting away a little bit on this Macau Motorcycle Grand Prix, the 45th edition as they call it here. Into the brakes, into the Melco hairpin. Swan Yamaha looks pretty good, just has a little glance over his right hand shoulder, and it is Marty Jessup in second with of course his teammate Michael Rutter in 3rd position. And well, looking at that, he's pulled about a second out, so the Swan Yamaha absolutely flying. Full World Superbike spec, that is. Everything you'd want from a factory machine is on that there. And Hutchie, head down, under the bubble. Yamaha gives a little bit of a shake. Now don't forget, first time racing for this year for Ian Hutchinson. So, comes into the final corner, into the Curve R, the R bend, and flashes over the line. And 2 minutes 27.562, 2:27.562. Hutchinson from Jessup, from Rutter, from McGuinness, from Toy, from Storer, from Johnson, from Barnes, from Anstey, your top 9 at the moment. 10th over the line is James Hillier, then Steve Mercer, Chris Clark, the American, William Dunlop, Michael Dunlop, Didier Grams, as Michael Rutter, well, he's right in the slipstream now of Marty Jessup. Is he going to pull out? He does. Michael's so good on the brakes as they go into Lisboa, and he has got past him again. Michael had a bit of a problem with that corner yesterday, which he did sort out, but Ian Hutchinson's lead is 1.338 seconds, and they're on the 3rd lap of 10. Ian Hutchinson 7 leads it from Marty Jessup as he crossed the line, but that's all changed as they go through the maternity bends, up the Hospital Bridge, up that way, up the top of the track. It's 1.338. What will the gap be, I wonder, when they get to the sector 2? Now, Rutter was quicker than Hutchinson into sector 1, which is just at the Lisboa, by about half a second. So I think he will, of course, just stay a little bit of time up on the man from Bingley in Yorkshire. Of course, former Manx Grand Prix winner, TT winner, Scarborough winner, North West 200 winner, also Grand Prix winner. And it is nice to see Ian back out on the back bike. However, Michael Rutter is absolutely charging him down now. That has visibly got short of that gap. It really has. So I think Hutchie's going to have his ears full of a Ducati twin sound in a few minutes' time, as you see Paul Bird there having a quick chat. Paul Bird himself there, manager of the Kawasaki team there, Paul Bird Motorsport, but of course well known as a rally driver as well, with a few wins to his credit around the British roads and of course on the Isle of Man too. But Michael Rutter is chasing Ian Hutchinson down. They're coming down into Lisboa once more. It looks pretty planted. The Yamaha just shaking the rear end just a little bit, should have stayed with that. And through the second split, let's have a look at the times there. When they come up, we can tell you that Michael Rutter is, about half a second he's pulled back, so it'll be interesting to see as they come through. And the front three have broken away a little bit from John McGuinness, who's just dropped off the back of these two now. So it is Hutchinson from Rutter from Jessup. So Marty Jessup managing to hold with his more illustrious teammate. And let's see what they do over the line and see what the exact gap is, and see if Hutchinson, you can see it yourself on screen, they've closed it right down. And well, I think Martin Jessup will be following Michael round and maybe learning a little bit. Michael Rutter's lap time 2 minutes 25.913. Hutchie's last lap time 2:27.161, so that gap has come down. So Hutchinson leads from Rutter by 0.325 of a second. Marty Jessup in third, 0.625 back. And I think we're going to have a change of the lead into Lisboa as Michael Rutter gets himself into the slipstream, pulls out to Ian Hutchinson's right-hand side, and well, just dances it in. And there we are. We have a new race leader here in the City of Dreams 45th Motorcycle Grand Prix. And it is Michael Rutter. Everybody expected to be up there. Can he get that 7th race win and go to the all-time top of the list? It's a lot has been said about this week, and he's done a lot of interviews about it, and that's always been the question that he has been asked. But can Ian Hutchinson respond? Can Martin Jessup get past Hutchie and stay with his teammates? Or, as we've seen in the last lap, is Michael Rutter just going to clear off? I can tell you, Jeremy Toy's got ahead of John McGuinness for 4th, John McGuinness in 5th, Gary Johnson 6th, Jimmy Storrett in 7th, Mike Barnes in 8th. And look at that already, Rutter's pulled out a heck of a lead already. They were coming to the second split in a moment at the Macau hairpin. So it's Hutchinson who led over the line, but that's now all changed. McGuinness in 5th, Johnson, Storrett, Barnes, Anstey, Hillier, Mercer, Clark, William Dunlop, Michael Dunlop, Grams, Dwyer, Thompson, Miller, Shoesmith and De Koopel. Let's get to SS2. They're into the Melco hairpin, into the very hard braking round there. There's a little bit of a step on the inside, you'll probably notice, and they'll be coming to that very shortly. They've just gone through it actually. No, they're coming up to it now, but Michael Rutter still does have the lead, and the Blade has his head down now. Can the two young men behind him? Marty Jessup tries to have a little look around the outside. A few sparks come up from Michael's footrest, or maybe just his knee slider with a bit of titanium in it. And just had a quick look there to see if Marty Jessup will be able to get up the inside of Ian Hutchinson. He doesn't. But Jeremy Toy still ahead of John McGuinness there. Gary Johnson just off the back of those two, but it is Michael Rutter who now is, let's have a little look, 1:33. I would say that's about 0.7, nearly 0.8 of a second of a lead that Michael Rutter has. And you see the pit crew getting awfully excited. Now, this has been a long week for the motorcycle guys. They obviously didn't get any qualifying in because of the rain, but now they're out on track. They are loving it. Michael Rutter on the Ducati. He crosses the line with a, well, that's a substantial lead. That is a substantial lead. It is Michael Rutter's lap time of 2:26.501. He has a 1.369 lead over Ian Hutchinson. So Michael Rutter, number 2, leads number 7, Ian Hutchinson, by 1.369. And then Marty Jessup, who is snapping at the heels of Ian Hutchinson now. He's in third, 1.528 back. Then it's Jeremy Toy, John McGuinness, Gary Johnson, Jimmy Storrett, Mike Barnes, Bruce Anstey and Steve Mercer rounding out your top 10. And Marty Jessup, I think, just maybe being held up a little bit by Ian Hutchinson now, and that's letting Michael Rutter get away. The boys are only halfway through Lisboa to San Francisco Hill, and Michael Rutter has already gone and up the hill. Really is on a charge now, Michael Rutter. His last lap was about 0.6 of a slower than the previous lap, but he did need to put that time in to try and get back past Ian Hutchinson, who led from the first couple of laps. But it's Rutter from Hutchinson from Jessup. Looking a little bit further down the field, Michael Dunlop's quickest lap time, 2:31.446, and his brother's just ahead of him in 12th position at 2:31.344. So good to see the two young lads here. And of course, the father won this race back in 1989 on that lovely RC30, which is in the museum here in Macau. Now, if you do manage to come here for Macau next year, that is a must go and see. There's some beautiful cars, racing cars from all sorts of vintage and lots of machines in there, including Mike Trimley's very own machine that he finished third on many years ago. And of course, there's various things like Kevin Swanson's GP500, Suzuki in there as well, the V4 two-stroke. Marty Jessup, I tell you, he's really looking for a way past Ian Hutchinson there, and Michael Rutter through the split, 1:32.958, and that's down to about a second, I would say. So maybe the guys have just pulled him back a little bit there. Jessup is having a look, and they all seem to be starting to do what the guys do in MotoGP and World Superbikes, just dangling a leg out. That seems to be becoming quite prevalent here. A couple of guys have noticed doing that. Would be Marty Jessup and William Dunlop, and Jessup is up to second now. Jessup up to second position. He's passed Hutchinson on the brakes and running a little bit wide. Martin does there, and wow, he had that right on its side. That Ducati was absolutely flat on the edge of those tyres. So Marty Jessup up to second position, and he lost the front a little bit there. That front started to slide as he came through the Mandarin Oriental. Wow, Marty Jessup absolutely on a charge, because you can see Michael Rutter, who has a 2.859 second lead, going away into the distance. So Rutter, Jessup, Hutchinson, Toy up to fourth. Of course, Jeremy third here last year. McGuinness, Johnson, Stewart, Barnes, and Steve Mercer and Hillier, your top 11 at the moment. Quickest lap of the race so far to Michael Rutter. That was on about lap 3, I think that was, when he took the lead, 2:25.913. He just goes through shot as Marty Jessup goes through shot there, and well, he's really cranking it now. And you can probably just see on the back of some of the leathers they have a little tube, and that'll be just to feed them a little bit of fluid up there. I can just see on the back of Marty Jessup's, and of course on the back of Ian Hutchinson leathers, just a little tube that goes through in, and they can have a drink. Conditions aren't as warm as what they were last night, yesterday should I say, for qualifying. Marty Jessup really on the limit here now around Macau in this 3.8 mile circuit, trying to close down his teammate, and well, this would be a fantastic end to the season for Marty Jessup. Having a pretty good British Superbike campaign, 11th overall with a 6th at Snetterton, his best position, and well, on that pole position at the Northwest 200. And well, Michael Rutter is, I think she's a bit tired, that girl. Too many late nights, I think. Too many late nights for that young lady. But Michael Rutter is going off into the distance now, and these three have broken away. The other guys like Toy, McGuinness and Johnson, they are another 5 seconds back now, so it is down just to these three for the top 3 steps here, as Michael Rutter just powers out of the Melco hairpin, and he is already on his way to Fisherman's Bend. There's a good battle behind there for Jeremy Toy, John McGuinness and Gary Johnson, so a Kawasaki, a Honda and a Suzuki in that one. Michael Rutter set his best time to sector 2 of 1:32.309. So Michael Rutter, well, what sort of lap are we going to see from him here? We will see, as the guys in the SMT Roadhouse team give us a big thumbs up. But we'll have Michael Rutter over the line now. 2:25.456 for him. And that's Marty Jessup's quickest lap, 2:26.074. They're out onto lap 7. And the official gap is 3.477. 3.477. Ian Hutchinson in 3rd. Jeremy Toy in 4th, John McGuinness in 5th, and then Johnson and Stewart. But Michael Rutter's away with it. He just kind of sat back for the first couple of laps, and it makes you wonder if they were talking about that. If you remember from the start of the race, when they were coming up towards from the Fisherman's Bend to the R Bend, where they were just saying, "We'll just have a bit of a play the first couple of laps." So I think a lot of the riders all know that Michael Rutter, if he gets his head down on that Ducati, he will be away. Jeremy Toy still ahead of John McGuinness, with Gary Johnson right on his heels as we go through the rest of the field. It's Rutter from Jessup, from Hutchinson, Toy, McGuinness, Johnson, Stewart, Barnes, and Steve Mercer, Hillier, Michael Dunlop, William Dunlop, Grams, Clark, Dwyer Thompson, Miller, Shoesmith and McBride. That's your top 20 here at the moment. Yep, that's your top 20. It is James McBride bringing it back at the moment. Yep, that's the top. And just looking at John McGuinness putting a little bit of pressure on Jeremy Toy. I just want to see how the leaders are going to be going through Sector 1, all roughly about the same now. From the time they leave the start and finish here down to Lisboa is about 25 seconds, and everybody is round about that sort of speed, so the machines are all pretty equal to that point. And wow, Jeremy Toy massively wide there, but he managed to pull her back in again. But it's Sector 2 that the fast men like Michael Rutter managed to make a lot of time up, and that's where he was making all the time up there in the qualifying and also in warm-up this morning. That's where he was making the big time up. Bruce Anstey currently in 9th position at the moment on the Padgett'sMotorcycles.com Honda. Steve Mercer's in 10th, then James Hillier, Michael Dunlop and William Dunlop still having that battle for 12th and 13th, but it's a good battle for 4th, 5th and 6th with Toy, McGuinness and Johnson right in on it. And Jeremy Toy, well, made his Isle of Man debut back in, I think it was 2006, wasn't it, when he first came to the Isle of Man riding for Martin Bullock Motorsport. Could have been 2007, it was a long time ago. He did want to come back this year, but he said the deal just wasn't right, and obviously didn't sort out as Michael Rutter comes over the line. 2:26.184 for that lap, and well, 2:26.463, so he's holding it at about a 3.756 second lead. So Rutter from Jessup from Hutchinson, then Toy, McGuinness and Johnson. Well, Toy, McGuinness and Johnson are only separated by a second, so this is going to be a pretty hairy battle for 4th, 5th and 6th. Looking at Steve Mercer this year, Steve's had a pretty good year. Rode at the Isle of Man this year. In the seniors, he did very well, riding for the Andy Corliss Jackson Racing BMW. Of course, rode that in a lot of places. Did well in the Scarborough races this year, and he was in the British Superstock Championship. Got a couple of points. He was at one of the Brands Hatch rounds at the start of the year and got a couple of points on the board there. A lot of riders do that at the start of the year. After this, a lot of them don't really do any more riding, and they kind of use, especially the roads guys, they use a lot of the early British Superbike rounds in Super Sport and Superbike, Super Cup, Super Stock to get out on track just to get some laps in. Rutter, Jessup, Hutchinson, Toy, McGuinness, Johnson. That's your top 6. Then Storer, Barnes, Anstey, Mercer, Hillier, and Dunlop, Michael, Dunlop, William, Grams, Dyer, Clark, Thompson, Shoesmith, Miller, and McBride. I think we might have lost James McBride, actually. Not actually sure. He's not come up on the screens. Don't forget, James did run on. I think it was James. He's just gone over the line there now. James did run on out at the Lisboa bend on the first lap. But it's all about Michael Rutter. It really is. The man who won his first TT in 1998. He was the junior TT. Don't forget, he of course has been here 17 times. Didn't finish in the first year he came. Won his first race here back in 1998. Then he won 1, 2, 3, 4 on the trot, didn't he? So that 4, 5, 6. This will make it 7 if he keeps it going for another lap and a quarter. So a lap and a quarter to go. But Marty Jessup is still there, just as Michael exits the Melco Heaven. His teammate, his younger teammate, Marty Jessup, and this will be nice for the RidersMotorcycles.com Ducati team to end a year like this. But Ian Hutchinson is still holding on, and a great performance from Ian. You mustn't take anything away from the man, because well, he's had a terrible year since what happened last September, the end of last season, the incident at Snetterton, which kind of left him with injuries that well, a lot of people wouldn't come back from. But Ian has shown true grit. He was hoping to come back at the Isle of Man TT this year, didn't happen. But Michael Rutter out on his 9th lap. He has a lead now of 4.3 seconds from his teammate Marty Jessup. I'm sure he's getting pretty good boards to tell him exactly where he is on track and exactly how far ahead he is. So Rutter, Jessup and Hutchinson, 6.488 seconds separate the front 3. Then it's Toy, McGuinness and Johnson. And there's only 4 or 5, there's about 6 seconds separate those guys now. So they've kind of split themselves just up a little bit. And Marty Jessup, just a little bit late on the brakes, but perfectly fine into Lisboa, into the right-hander, then into the right-hander of San Francisco Hill. And there you can see him just into shot up the top, and he'll be coming up under the hospital bridge just about now, over the little rise in the road, and then into the maternity bends, which is just a sweeping a left and then a right and then a little bit of a left again, and then into what's called the Solitude. This is very thtight through all there. You want to see the touring cars and the big sports cars. They really are a big size to have through there. And there he goes now into the Solitude S is there any second now, and then a slight climb as they go up to Moorish Hill into the left. and then they'll be running down into what's called say Moorish Hill, and then the Curva di Maria, and then the Melco hairpin. But it's all about Michael Rutter up the front. After 8 laps, 4.309, he has the lead. From Jessup, from Hutchinson, Toy and McGuinness, Johnson, Storer, Bonds and Steve Mercer rounding out your top 10. Some 37.58 seconds separate the top 10 there. Just picturing in on Michael Rutter once again. Wonder what's going through his mind, because ever since the build up to the Macau Grand Prix started, all everybody wanted to talk about was 7 wins, and well, I think finally having this lifted off his back, and there'll be another rider who will be having this lifted off his back, will be Ron Haslam, who must be getting sick of the question, when is Michael Rutter going to do it? And it looks like it's going to be this year, if nothing misfortune will touch wood and will touch Everton, just to send Michael a little bit of luck. And Jeremy Toy is broken away from John McGuinness and Gary Johnson, and he is chasing down Ian Hutchinson a bit. He's only about 4 seconds back, so that's not really that much really, as Michael Rutter will be with us any second now, coming into the final corner, into the curve on. He will be getting the last lap forward, I should say this time. Yes, he is. He brings the ridersmotorcycle.com Ducati over the line for the final time. His best lap, 2:25.456. His last lap was 2:26.300. Just rolled it off a little bit, and his lead now is just about 5 seconds for Michael Rutter over Marty Jessup, with, of course, Ian Hutchinson in 3rd, Jeremy Toy 4th position, John McGuinness in 5th, and Gary Johnson in that 6th position, out on the last lap. And well, 7 wins here for Michael if he keeps this going now, and I'm sure he'll be straight on the phone to Ron Haslam, of course, his son Leon, competing in World Superbikes this year as well. And Ron, of course, many times winner around the world, Isle of Man, and here as well. Final time then, up the hill for Michael Rutter as he comes up over the top, the hospital bridge, into the maternity bend. And it looks pretty steady, doesn't it? The Ducati looks absolutely planted. He's riding that bike week in, week out. And he knows it inside out, knows the Ducati. And they're just having a little look back at the records, and he's won on all sorts of machines here, but I think the Ducati has to be his favourite. That famous win he had at the Northwest 200, when he was riding in Northwest 200 Ducati colours, and wow, I thought the roof was going to come off the place that year when he won that race. Absolutely fantastic when he won that for the Northwest 200 organisation, and they ran it as the Northwest 200 in the British Championship as well, and that gave that event some absolutely fantastic coverage. For the final time, that distinctive Michael Rutter style. Down the hill he goes, he'll be into Moorish Hill. There he goes now into the right hand, just coming to the Di Maria bit now. It's a very, very long loop into the right, and then they'll be going into the left any second now. And then hard on the brakes for the last time for this year will be Michael Rutter into the Melco hairpin. And I think he's got this one in the bag. Let's have a little look at the last second sector. We'll get that in a second now. He's still, even though Jeremy Toy just said his best first sector, but I think he's trying to catch Ian Hutchinson up. He's only 3.2 back. Rutter out of Melco for the final time, and there is Marty Jessup having a little look over his shoulder just exactly to see where Ian Hutchinson is. He's pretty safe in that position, but it is going to be Michael Rutter who's going to take his 7th win here at Macau. He's just through the Fisherman's Bend there now. No wheelies just yet. Yes, a big wheelie for Michael Rutter as he comes up Fisherman's into the curve at our bend, and he is going to get a fantastic reception here. 7 wins around Macau, and it goes to the man they know as the Blade, and it's Michael Rutter. What does he do over the line? A big wheelie for the man. Absolutely fantastic. He has done it. 7 wins for the man. Ian Hutchinson, fantastic 3rd place. Marty Jessup 2nd, and I think Hutchie's more pleased about that. Jeremy Toy in 4th position. John McGuinness drops to 6th. Gary Johnson just gets the better of John McGuinness there now, but it's all about that man on screen. A bit of a wave gives the Ducati a bit of a bit of a caress, I think would be the correct word to say. A bit of a stroke on the tan there, but Michael Rutter, well, he didn't have to push. His last lap was only 2:27, and his teammate goes over there now. He's just told him he finished 2nd, and the 2 good friends as well. Michael Rutter takes that 7th win, but a fantastic performance for number 40 there, Marty Jessup, who does a big stand on the pegs wheelie. Marty is absolutely overjoyed with that. Not had much luck here at Macau, did not finish last year, was first here in 2007 when he finished in 19th position. But what sort of antics are we going to see from them as they come through on this slowing down lap? Let's get back to that in a moment, but Michael Rutter takes the win by 4.772 seconds from Martin Jessup. Then Ian Hutchinson in 3rd, then Jeremy Toy, Gary Johnson, John McGuinness, Jimmy Storer, Mike Barnes, Bruce Anstey, Steve Mercer, James Hillier, Michael Dunlop, William Dunlop, Didier Grams, Sean Dwyer, Stephen Thompson gets a finish. Lots of problems for Stephen this week. Paul Shoesmith, Mark Miller, and we're just waiting for McBride and de Kubel to take the line as well. But what a fantastic win for the RidersMotorcycles.com rider Michael Rutter. 7 times a winner here round Macau. Well, I don't think there's any happier man here in Macau today than that man there, of course, Michael Rutter. But I'm pretty sure that Ian Hutchinson will bring him a close second, because after the year, or the last year and a little bit that Ian Hutchinson has had, where he must have had all sorts of thoughts going through his mind. And, well, back on the motorcycle and on the podium here as well for Ian Hutchinson. Now, I'm trying to remember right here. He's been on the podium here before in 2009 and again in 2006 it was, 2006 on the podium as well. So no stranger to that, just backing in the Swan Yamaha. And this could be, look at that for a lovely photograph there. Michael Rutter, just a little bit of a nod, and I think he's very, very happy, and a big wave to the camera as well. And his good friend John McGuinness there, who's no stranger to winning around here as well, winning back in 2001. But Michael Rutter, well, I'm sure the Blade is going to have a heck of a party tonight. And John McGuinness are just having a quick chat together, and they're all good friends, these guys. They really, really are. They get on so, so well. But Michael Rutter, well, the star of the show again. Everybody thought he would be the star of the show, and he's definitely turned that out. Ian Hutchinson, well, he did give him a bit of a run for the first couple of laps as well. When Michael Rutter got past, there was only one inevitability about it, that he was going to take that win. Massive disappointment for Connor. He wasn't very well for the earlier part of today, and I know he was getting lots of fluids inside him and trying to make the start, but unfortunately he's not managed to make it. He's got some sort of cold or something, so get well soon, Connor. We'll see you a little bit later on. But there we are. Michael Rutter wins on the RidersMotorcycles.com Ducati from Marty Jessup on another RiderMotorcycle.com Ducati. Then Ian Hutchinson, Jeremy Toy, Gary Johnson and John McGuinness, Jimmy Storer and Mike Barnes. Then it's Bruce Anstey, Steve Mercer, James Hillier, Michael Dunlop and William Dunlop, both on their debuts, 12th and 13th respectively. Didier Grams, Sean Dwyer and Stephen Thompson in 16th position. Then we had Paul Shoesmith, his first time as a rider here, Mark Miller, James McBride and Mikkel de Koppel. But I'm sure you'll agree, it's all about that man, Michael Rutter, 7-timer winner. A lot of smoke down there in the paddock. I'm sure you can just see Marty Jessup gets the congratulations of his team and his team mechanics, and well, a big burnout for one of them down there. Didn't actually see who did that, but I'm sure Marty Jessup will be a very, very happy chap. And he said, well, I'm not a road racer. When I talked to him yesterday, I like it on the circuits, and we would like to see him at the Isle of Man TT, wouldn't we? Because he does do the Northwest 200. Just see Jason Griffiths there, the man from Pirelli Tyres, who, of course, no mean road racer in his time as well. Just it's very interesting when you see these guys. As soon as you get off the bike, they like to go and have a chat to the tyre guys and just tell them how the tyres were. Various sort of probes in just to see what the heat of the tyre was, the inner core, the outer core of the tyre. So a fantastic day for Michael Rutter. I think you'll agree, at the City of Dreams 45th Macau Motorcycle Grand Prix. Back in a moment for the podium. Look at the board. The pit board says it all. And interesting to see what leathers he has on there. He actually has the leathers on of the ones that he rode when he won that TT Zero Missions race on the Isle of Man as well. So obviously he likes those leathers with Segway in the back. And a big burnout for Michael Rutter there. Goes to speak to Marty Jessup. And the board says it all. P1 7 times. So good man. Well done to Michael Rutter. Just see number 26 there. Didier Grams coming in. And there's Michael Rutter, takes the lid off, and he'll get the Pirelli hat on. Oh, as quick as anything, they're in there. And I think happy now, I think would be the word that Michael Rutter would use, that it's finally been done. And just giving he'll be doing a lot of television interviews in the next hour, I would say, because this is the big story for the motorcycle men here at Macau, that Michael Rutter has finally got those 7 wins. And, well, a bit of a scrum down there, a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, and, well, just people have to take their time. And there's John McGuinness goes up and congratulates him.
Michael, just take this back, will you?
Sorry. Yeah, you can see the big smile on his face. That smile has been there this week, but it hasn't been as wide as that one that he has, because that one now means he is the man, and now it's time to go up there for the podium and, of course, the press conference. And I think you can just see there the questions that were being asked to Michael Rutter as he on his way up to the podium and then off to the press conference was, how do you feel, Michael? And I think the one word of them, hopefully his father will be listening to this as well. Tony, congratulations to your son. 7 wins here at Macau, and I'm sure you'll be very, very proud of him. I know Tony isn't here, but of course a very famous racer in his own right also. But well done to that man there, Michael Rutter. Give you the official word then. I can tell you that Michael Rutter, after 10 laps, won the race by 4.772 seconds from number 14, Martin Jessup. Then number 7, Ian Hutchinson, third, 2.075 seconds back off Jessup. In fourth, number 57, Jeremy Toy. He was 2.82 seconds back on Hutchinson. In fifth, number 69, Gary Johnson, who got the better of John McGuinness on the last lap. He was 4.4 seconds back on Toy. John McGuinness in sixth, 0.021 seconds behind Johnson. Seventh, Jimmy Storer. Number 15, 17.7 seconds back off McGuinness. 8th, number 34, Barnes, 4.84 seconds back off Storer. 9th, number 5, Anstey, 2.49 seconds back off Barnes. And your top 10 rounded out by Steve Mercer, number 17, 2.329 seconds back. Then Hillier, Michael Dunlop, William Dunlop, Grams, Dwyer Thompson, Shoesmith, Miller, McBride and De Koopel, your top 20. So we're now about to get the podium for the City of Dreams 45th Macau Motorcycle Grand Prix, and well, he has done it. We all thought he would have done it before the start of today, and he has done it, and there he is up onto the podium. Richly deserved. The man from the Midlands, the West Midlands here, there in the UK. Michael Rutter just takes the gloves off there now. I'm sure they're very, very hot. And Marty Jessup, his teammate now. It's not a shock to see Martin up there, but that man there, Ian Hutchinson, he only had a cage on his leg, one of those cages that they rebuild their legs with, and now the national anthem. As you can see, I was just saying about Ian Hutchinson there, considering it was only, about 6 weeks ago when he still had the cage on his leg, and he called it his very own Eiffel Tower. Well, that's gone now, and you can see the presentations now being made to the riders. And it goes to Michael Rutter, the race winner. He wins the City of Dreams 45th Macau Motorcycle Grand Prix. 7 wins around here now. Absolutely fantastic that he has done that, and receives the trophy. And a big cheer for Michael Rutter, I'm sure, from the grandstand. Michael Rutter gets the win, he gets the applause of Ian Hutchinson and, of course, Marty Jessup. And, well, Marty Jessup did kind of put a shot across everybody's bows this morning in warm-up when he was right on the case of Michael Rutter. And there he is getting his award, gets the garland, and he also gets his lovely trophy, which I'm sure he is going to cherish. A very fine trophy it is as well. Well done to Martin Jessup. And this, I think, is going to be the big smile. Hutchie is known as a bit of a smiler. And, well, yeah, the big smile is there. And Ian Hutchinson gets the garland over his neck and then gets his trophy as well. A big handshake, yes, and a very happy Ian Hutchinson there. What sort of emotions is going through Ian there now after as I said before, about the 14 months that Ian Hutchinson has had. So there's your first 3. In first, Michael Rutter. In second, of course, it is Marty Jessup. And in third, well done to Ian Hutchinson. That is your first 3 in the City of Dreams 45th Macau Motorcycle Grand Prix. And Michael Rutter just struggling to get the top off that champagne. Marty Jessup's got his off first, and I think Michael Rutter is going to be wearing this everywhere. Puts the bottle down the back of his neck, puts it over the top. Richly deserved. Ian Hutchinson sprays it in Michael's face as well. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of the guys not on soft drinks as they have been for the past couple of nights in preparation for qualifying and racing. But Michael Rutter has got the win, well, and I think he enjoys it. And Ian Hutchinson, well, I didn't think he was going to take champagne again, but the boy from Yorkshire has got it. But well done to Michael Rutter. That's it from me, and I'll speak to you again next year. Bye-bye.